Brenda, I'll let you say a few words and then we will get rolling.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having an amazing day. Look forward to Gary's training today. And being that he's in his universe, there'll be no technical errors, which is going to be kind of boring. I mean, what are we going to do without issues?
I know,
So,
no
with
glitches
that
today.
being said, I will be leaving a little early to do a signing. But if there's any questions, please just drop them in the Q&A for Gary, and he'll check it so that he can answer the information that you might have. And we look forward to you. Next week's is exciting. We have the whole list of them, and the takeaways should be good. And we appreciate you being here. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Brenda. Okay. So this week we're talking about building a powerful first impression, and it's, we, excuse me, we all understand the importance of social media, and we also understand the idea of how important it is that you create a good first impression with whatever you're doing, any of your marketing efforts. But sometimes we forget that social media is more than just posting stuff on Facebook. So I wanted to take a few minutes and today and kind of show you how to create a strong profile that works on not just on your social media. It can also overlap into your website, into your marketing efforts, into your videos. I mean, everything that you do really has a good first, it requires that first impression. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get going. Cool, that works. And as Brett said, if you have questions, you can either pop them in the Q&A box or you can pop them in the chat. Either place, I'll see them either place. So I have both going. Here we go. All right. So building that strong, powerful first impression, it's really an important key, because if you think about it, you wouldn't put a, less than professional headshot on your business card, would you? Or, something that's not the message that you want to put out on your brochures, your marketing materials, anything like that. You only have one chance to make a first impression, to make a good first impression. So you want to be sure that you have a strong profile, a strong presence, so that and consistent presence throughout. You don't know who's going to, where somebody will, I mean, they may find your Facebook page. They may find your Instagram. They may find you on LinkedIn. They may go to your website. You don't know. So you need to have that profile that is to a T, everything that you want to present, the face that you want to present to the public. And so that's why this is so important. And really, a great social media bio starts with action more than character. And by that, I mean the professional attributes that set you apart. So it's more important that you talk about, the professional things that make you stand out. With realtors, there's 6,000 realtors, right? And you all do the same thing. Granted, some much better than others. But by the same token, the public doesn't know a good realtor from a bad realtor in the beginning by looking at, just looking at your name. They don't know. So they need more information that helps them to begin to discern that, oh, this person looks really professional. So that's one of the important things with creating that bio is making sure that you have the correct actionable information on your site. Everything should be client facing. And those of you know that have done webinars with me in the past, that's a big thing that I preach all the time. everything you do needs to be client facing. It needs to be in first person, and it needs to be talking about what you do for your client. That's the most important thing of all. Like I said, what do you do for your clients? How do you serve them? How does your service and the things that you offer meet the needs that they have? You don't want to use any buzzwords or industry jargon in your bio. Don't. And it's important to put the alphabet soup after your name, the GRI, the SCR, the CBS, ABC, QRTUV stuff. But that's not the most important thing, because the average client has no clue what that is. They don't know what it means. So and when we talk in terms of that we help provide, we do a professional competitive market analysis for your home, and we help walk you through the Benzer and all that. They don't know what that means. Talk to all of your content directed to your client needs to be built around words they understand. We give you a free home evaluation. We help walk you through the home inspection process. We help you negotiate with buyer or seller. So make sure you're using words that the audience recognizes, not just not industry stuff. You always want to offer a value proposition. And by that, I mean, what's in it for your client? What do you do for your client? What value do you bring? Do you help them? Do you help them get the most house for the best price and the in the shortest time frame? Those are the things that they're concerned about, and so that's what they want to know. You want a consistency of message. That means your marketing bio needs to be consistent across platforms. Now, every platform is different. So what works on LinkedIn, you may not have the same characters on Facebook, and you don't have the same characters on Instagram, and your website's totally different. Granted, I got that, but that message should be the same. So for me, my message is always about helping buyers, helping convert browsers into buyers. And so when that message is the same on all of my platforms, it's the same on my website, it's the same on my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube, my LinkedIn page. So that consistency of message is what's important. And the best thing you want to do is set the hook in the beginning. This is really the important piece, because you think about people that when they view your profile, they're not going to read everything you write necessarily unless you really set the hook in the beginning. And by that, I mean the first sentence, the headline, the tagline, whatever it is that shows up prominent in the profile needs to say, I know you have problems, and I have the answer to those problems. And that's really what we're trying to do. So we're trying to really achieve that. We're trying to set the hook so that we get them to buy into, reading the rest of our bio and knowing who we are. So we're going to start with Facebook page. Facebook page, I would guess everybody probably has a Facebook business page. If you don't, you need to see me, because you definitely got to do that. But your Facebook business page consists of a few things, and you've got your logo. And in your case, in most of your cases, my recommendation is this should be your headshot. This should be your photo. You've got your cover photo here. In my case, it's a video. But in your case, it can be a nice, photo of a home, of Tucson, of family, of, it can be an aggregate photo of various things. Um, and we'll talk about a couple of components of that as well in just in a moment. You've got your call to action button here. And this is a how a viewer sees my page. And then you have your services and then the content down below. So your Facebook business page, you start out with choosing your page name. And in most cases, I recommend it's your name dash realtor or real estate agent. I don't recommend you use your brokerage. And the reason I don't is because you're branding your page, right? So you're building that page brand is what you're creating here. But what happens if you leave the brokerage? And I understand you do have, and there are requirements of being able to show your, the brokerage has to display on your page. So I understand that, and there's ways you can do that. But I typically don't recommend you put the brokerage in your page name because you're only allowed so many changes to that. And what happens if you leave your brokerage and go someplace else? Then you have to go through a page change that Facebook may or may not approve. And so better to, your name realtor. And you could even use a location in here too. You could be Tucson realtor. So there's ways to do that, but you want to choose choose a page name. Your profile photo needs to be a square. So it should be a headshot or a logo. And it really is going to work best if it's a square dimensions. And this is 170 by 170 pixels, that PX, that's what that means, is pixels. It can be a bigger photo than that, but Facebook does not really want to accept it if it's smaller, but it really needs to be square. So if you don't have a square version of your headshot or your logo, if that's what you're using, you need to create one in Canva or, some program like that. Your cover photo, 820 pixels wide by 312 pixels tall. Again, you're dealing with pixels, but if you go to Canva, Canva has pre-built templates for Facebook cover photos. And so you can use one of those and fill in the photos, and then you have a really nice cover photo. You can do whatever you want. You can import pictures from that you have of maybe a home, maybe a Tucson scenery, maybe use your photo in there. In your cover photo, what I recommend is inside your cover photo, somewhere, one of the corners, upper right, left, bottom, whatever it might be, whatever fits in the photo you're using, put your brokerage logo there. That covers the requirements for the Arizona Department of the Arizona Real Estate Department. By having the broker's logo in that photo, now you've met the requirements that you need to have that displayed. The other thing that you probably may want to put down there, probably do, somewhere in the corner of that image, are the realtor and the equal housing logos. So again, you're going to create a photo in something like Canva, and then you put those elements in there, and then you can put that in your cover photo. So that's one way to do that, and you're staying within the guidelines of the real estate department. You can consider using a video as your cover. As you saw in mine, it is a video, and I'm in process. I'm going to change it. I'm still going to use a video, but the one I have is a video of me just standing there talking, and it doesn't do the job if the sound's off. So I'm actually in the process of doing an animation video that I'm going to put there that can convey the same message with or without the sound on. So that's what I'm going to be updating mine to shortly. But again, that interaction, the movement, the entertainment factor of a video, it also makes you stand out from everybody else. There aren't many. I do a lot of looking at realtors' Facebook pages, and I don't find hardly any. If I'm trying to think if I've even had, I think I've seen one that had a video. Everybody else was just a still shot. So remember, we're trying to separate ourselves from the rest of the crowd. We want to distinguish ourselves from the pack. Do something that not everybody is doing. And the video helps move you to that point. You have a brief summary. So you have 255 characters in your Facebook business page profile that you can use. This is a really important piece, and it is really challenging because what you're trying to do, once again, is create a summary in 255 characters that tells people what you do for them, and why you're the right choice as their realtor. And we're going to talk about this a little more, especially when we get into the LinkedIn section. So we'll talk about this a little more, but just keep in mind, 255 characters is not a lot. So you want to give it some real consideration. You do have an additional info section that's up to 10,000 characters. So you can be as wordy as you want when you get into the additional info section. And somebody that may want to read it, there are some strategies for that as well. I typically, when I do my additional info, I'll have a paragraph, again, customer or client facing, that says, you have a problem with, web design, search engine optimization, getting found, driving traffic. I have the solution. So I always have my paragraph starts with that, but then below I may have bullet points that say through website design. I have mobile responsive websites. They're secure. They have frequently asked questions. They allow your client to, they answer questions for people visiting you. They have XYZ, and I go through in a bullet point arrangement so that if somebody does see it, they can skim it and get the information of what I do without having to read word for word, because we know we're not going to read everything. So structure it in such a way, that additional info, in such a way that it's skimmable, scannable, and people can easily follow it. And then you want to use the right call to action. I always ask people as I'm helping them set their page up, one of the questions is always, how do you prefer to be contacted if somebody finds your Facebook page? How do you prefer to contact? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to use Facebook Messenger? Do you want them to email you? Do you want to drive them to your website? What's your preferred contact method? As of right now, the call to action button does not allow text messaging. It does allow the Facebook Messenger though, but it doesn't include text messaging. So you really choose between the phone call or a messenger or something like that. So another thing that a lot of folks overlook is the services tab on their Facebook business page. And the services tab is really an opportunity for you to showcase your business in more detail. So when you think about outline the major services in your target audience that your target audience finds useful. For realtors, for example, it's going to be home buyer services, home seller services, free market analysis, or free home valuation services. Maybe it's relocation, maybe it's investors. So those are the major service areas that you want to let people know that that's what you do. Then you want to list in detail under each of those services everything you do. Now, I know it's redundant. I know that you think, okay, well, I'm a realtor, and people know that I'm going to do, that I show them houses and I help them negotiate their, the contract. But if your services page doesn't say you do that, and my services page says I do, guess what? They're probably going to use me, because I'm telling them that I'm going to, if for a home seller or home buyer, I'm going to create a custom search for you. I'm going to show you houses in the areas that meet your criteria. I'm going to advise you in the offer to make, and walk you through the negotiation and help you understand the terms of the closing, the contracts, and yeah. And I list all of that stuff that I do because I don't want there to be any doubt. Don't give the client credit that they'll understand and know everything you do. They won't. So keep that in mind. List in detail everything you do. And gee, I just said that. Don't assume they know what you do. And you want to add these into the services tab in reverse order because you want the most important last. Because I think if I remember, I think it still does. I have to double check, but I think it still does. Puts the first thing you put in, then it puts that service in, and then when you add a new one, it moves that down, and then when you add that, it moves it down. So that if you start with your most important service on top, then it's going to be the last thing in the list, which I would rather have it at the top of the list, or at least in the top two. Your case, it's going to be home buyer or home seller should be the top 1 and 2. So let's talk about Instagram. So I'm assuming, I don't know how many of you do have Instagram. If you don't, you're missing the boat. Facebook, yes, has the biggest reach. It also has the most limited reach because in Facebook, what you post on your business page gets seen by about 3 to 5% of the people that have liked your page. In Instagram, however, right now, the majority of what you post gets seen by people that are following your page or your account. But it starts by choosing an Instagram name. And so you think, well, that's just, for me, I'm a realtor, so I'm going to choose my name. Well, the name, you have 2 fields in there, the name and the username. And those are the only 2 things that are searchable outside of Instagram by Google and things like that. So you want to give these some really serious thought. Your name is what displays at the top of the page, but your username is what people see all the time. So both of those are searchable. So you want to give some thought as to how you use those. So you pick the one that reflects you and your brand. Now, when you talk about the username, for example, whatever you have as the username, when you post things to Instagram, when you tag people, excuse me, when you comment on other people's, content or things they post, they see the username. So the username needs to really reflect what you do, who you are, what you do. You can use an underscore or a period, the dot, to separate words in your username to make them more easily readable. Now, once you create your username, you're pretty much stuck with it. I mean, you can change it, but it's going to be tied to everything that it was ever on before. Let's say you posted it up on flyers and on your business card, and you change it, it's going to not change. You're going to own all the collateral or wherever it shows. So you really want to give that some real thought. So consider stuff like Jane Smith dot or underscore Tucson Realtor or Tucson.realtor. So that way, and if you, by separating those now, it makes it a little more easily readable. How many times have you looked at at somebody's username and you're trying to figure out what it is? And, the example I saw earlier was somebody's username was a guide to blank, and a guide to whatever all ran together. So I'm trying to figure out, how do you use, it's a good age you did die. Well, I don't know what it means until you really see. So if they had used a underscore or a period to separate it, then it makes it more easily readable. And consider using locations and keywords. So realtor should be in, if not your name, it should be in your username. Location, Tucson, Oro Valley, Pima County, Southern Arizona, whatever you might want to use there should should be in one of those fields as well. Now for the name, you can change that as often as you want. So you could use, for example, you could use, Sally Smith, um, Tucson home specialist, you know, Tucson home buyer and seller specialist or something like that, senior real estate specialist. And then you decide, I really don't want to do the home seller. I'd rather just focus on buyers. Okay, so change it. You can change the name, but the username that stays put. Okay. So that's how you choose the right name for your business. You want to set up in Instagram, you want to set up a business account. That's the important part because it needs to be public. Personal accounts are private. Choose your name. And again, you don't want to use your brokerage in there. You could use the brokerage in the name, but not the username. So again, use your name, Realtor, your name, Tucson Realtor, and then use the brokerage inside the main name that can be changed. Does that make sense? Your bio has 150 characters. You're really limited in Instagram. So you need to be, this is a case where it's going to be more bullet point type of a bio. So helping clients buy and sell their homes for the best price and the most timely manner. You have to really give this some thought because you're really trying to get that message across of what you do, and utilize, be a little creative, get creative with that bio, and talk about what you do, what you offer, and your expertise in 150 characters. Tight. We'll actually talk about a formula for that in a moment as well. Make sure real estate shows up somewhere in your bio. Again, we got to let people know that you're in the real estate business. Location, we've already talked about the location, what areas you service. And then make sure that you have a link to your website in your bio page. To me, that's the important part. While I want to build relationships on the social media sites, I really want to build relationship off my social media sites and onto something I control, like my website. So important to get the link to your website in your bio. LinkedIn, to me, this is the granddaddy of all of the profiles, and this is where I really started honing in my my expertise level on building a good profile was in LinkedIn, because 99% of people use LinkedIn wrong. So most everybody has a profile that's not effective and not going to do what they need to do. We spend way too much time talking about ourselves in LinkedIn. I have X number of degrees and I specialize in, and I am the best person too. And, me, I, and nobody cares. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's not about you. And I'll say that again in a moment. It's not an online resume. We're not applying for a job, although that's what happens a lot on LinkedIn. And if that's what you're doing, that's a whole different scenario. And that's not about marketing. It's different. That's selling you rather than something, than attracting and generating leads. So it's not a resume. You start with a professional photo. You want to you want to smile, you want to be friendly, you want to have eye contact. If you don't, I know some people, it's like wear the sunglasses or whatever. People want to be able to see your eyes, and it's that personal connection when they look you in the face that, that they get from a professional photo and, seeing your eyes. Granted, I don't know of any of you that have ever, especially those that know me, have ever seen me dressed like that, because that's not me. But I mean, I want to provide that. I want that professional photo, and I do need to update it, but I want that professional photo to really reflect, my professionalism and my craft. The most important thing, the one thing you got to get right is your professional title. when people find you on LinkedIn, they see your name, and right under your name, they see your title. And this is probably what most people do wrong. Most people put realtor XYZ brokerage or realtor serving Tucson or something like that. Okay, so you don't stand out but among any of the other 6,000 realtors. Doesn't mean anything. That sentence has got to be, you've got to get it right. You have 125 characters to tell people who you are, what you do, the audience you serve, the value and benefit you bring to your customers or your clients, and some credibility and social proof. Whew, that's a lot in 125 characters. Mine, I think I have mine on here. And I said this before earlier, tell me what you can do to help me achieve my goal. I got a problem. Can you fix it? If you can fix it, I'm in. So here's mine. Helps businesses achieve online ROI, web design, SEO, and social media that increases traffic and converts browsers to buyers. Okay, so let's break this down into what I just said. Who do I serve? Well, I help businesses. I would say small, but I literally do not have another character in there to put it in there. So help businesses. I help them do what? I help them achieve online return on investment. How do I do that? With website design, SEO, and social media. And what does that get for me? Well, that increases traffic and it converts browsers to buyers. Now, if you read my profile and I say web designer, you go, oh, okay, yeah, as a web designer. But you read this profile and it says, this guy helps businesses increase their traffic and get more buyers. I want that. Sign me up. It's much more important to have that tagline. And if you only have a limited number of characters, that's 150 characters, 155 characters. If that's all you have, that's a great bio, something along that lines. That bio can be expanded on and used in Instagram as well, where you have that the limited space. So you don't have to reinvent a different profile each time. In fact, my recommendation is create a profile document on your computer somewhere, or phone, or wherever you want to create it, that has a long version of who you are and a short version that fits, so that you can just copy and paste anytime you have a new document come up. All you have to do is copy and paste and put that in. You'll notice down here the summary paragraph. We'll talk about that in a minute as well, but it kind of follows along the same lines. Gary Wagner, 800 Business Ninja Marketing, specializes in online marketing solutions, including website design, search engine optimization, social media marketing, coaching, and training for small and medium businesses. Since 1999, we've been on the leading edge of internet marketing, and then it goes on from there. Okay, so you want to be able to let people know, this is what I do for you. So let's kind of break down that profile, and keep in mind, I'm talking LinkedIn, but this works on all the platforms. So it's a good formula that works everywhere. Help targeted audiences achieve their goal by using your services. That's going to be point number one that you want to make in your profile. How do you help your audience achieve their goals by using you? You also want to be able to show them how what you're going to what you're sharing is going to help your ideal client solve their biggest problem. Okay. So what is their biggest problem, and how are you going to help them solve it? How are you going to make them more money, or save them time, or solve their core challenges? These are the three questions we want to really focus on in our profile. And a lot of these overlap. Again, I understand that. But maybe you may word it in different ways, or you may sort of combine these two or three into one. But this is what people want to know. So that's what we want to give them in our profile. First impression is the most important thing, client facing. We've already talked about that, and this is your best chance to impress your prospect. A confused prospect never buys. So you want to be very, very clear. You don't want to use flowing, superlatives. I go back and tell the story about the client I had at one point in time that was really proud of the new video he had just done. And it's about a minute long video, and he was going to use it on his website and his social media platforms to introduce what he did. And he was what he did was he helped facilitate collection efforts for businesses for clients or customers that owed him money. Okay. He wasn't a collection agency, but he sort of facilitated. So his video, is very nice, sitting in front of a desk, in front of a bank of books on a nice mahogany desk, looking like a lawyer. And he's talked about, I help you generate return on your investment for your accounts receivable that increases your return on your investment and boosts your bottom line. And, we provide exemplary customer service that, showcases whatever it is. Anyway, he went on and on and on for about a minute, and he showed it to me because he just had it done. And he showed us so proud, like a new dad. What do you think? And I went, great video. I have one question though. What do you do? And he went back and watched the video, and he's like, geez, I don't tell anybody what I do. And so we, again, we think realtor, but yet we still have to really expand on what is it that we do? How do we help them solve their problem? What's in it for them, and why do they want to use me? So that's really the focus on, how do you get that message across? So here's my template for creating that summary statement. So what do you do? Starts with, what do you do? I help my target audience, in my case, small businesses, achieve return on their investment by providing website design, search engine optimization, social media marketing, coaching, and training. So what I do. So that's how you start putting this together. And then who I work with. So I partner with, again, target audiences, our industry types. It could be, in your case, it could be I target with builders, with mortgage people, with insurance agents to help you, to help, reach out and provide a resource for my clients. Why it works? Well, when you partner with 800 Business Ninja Marketing, you get the most effective, efficient, and affordable website design, search engine optimization, social media marketing, coaching, training that small businesses are looking for right now. Okay, so word this in your verbiage. When you work with my real estate agency, you get the most effective, efficient, and trustworthy agent that helps you find the right home for your budget. That helps you find the right home for your budget, or sell your home for the most money in the shortest amount of time. So this is, again, the statement of why, who, and why. What makes me different? And you want to answer that question. And this is hard. I believe me, I understand. This is a hard question to answer. What makes you unique, different, better than your competition? The years of experience, your certifications, your accomplishments, your one-on-one attention to detail, customer service, all of those things can play in. What are the things that make you different? That's really what you want to focus on. And I know other people are going to have to say the same thing, and they do about, the web designers, some others say this, similar thing I do. But, for me, it's what makes me unique is I specialize in working with small to medium-sized businesses to create a digital marketing presence that fits their budget and gives them the return that they would get if they were a larger business. Okay. So that's my niche. That's what I work with. You know, maybe you work in an area, a location is the area that you want to work in. Maybe you specialize in working with seniors. Maybe you specialize in working with first-time home buyers. Not that you won't work with other people as well, but showcase those areas that you really do want to work with and that you really shine in, and that helps you stand out. Because, you know, there's a book, some of you may have read it, but if you haven't, I really recommend it. It's a great book. It's called Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port. And in it, he talks about his velvet rope policy. And in that, he says, don't try to be everything to everybody. If you can focus on your niche, then you're going to be far more successful and make more money than if you try to be everything to everybody. So it's a great little book. Carrying on with our template, what others are saying. So again, and this is a case where, and again, let me back up and emphasize, this is in the summary statement on your LinkedIn page or Facebook page where you have more room. So the headline is going to be one piece, and it's going to be really that first section of this we talked about. This is going to be longer, so you've got more space here. So copy and paste maybe 2 or 3 testimonials in this area. Real person, full name, company name, etc. Be specific about the value or the benefit that they receive from working with you. So, so in this particular case, worked with me, you know, my real estate agent. You know, as a real estate agent, I had from a testimonial standpoint, you know, my real estate agent helped negotiate through a tough buying process in which I was almost ready to walk away, and they, under their direction and guidance, they actually got me into the home that I wanted, and I paid less than I was willing to pay, something along the lines. True story, by the way. That's my son's story with his home buying, and that's kind of the testimony that we wrote for the agent as well. And you notice I said we wrote. I kind of understand the review process, because he was going to go, yeah, they did a great job, and in helping me buy my house. So there's an art to writing a review, and if you haven't done it and you aren't doing it, you need to be, because it's an important part. Side note, took a little left turn there. How it works. Now you start with explaining the process. So, you know, it's, excuse me. For home buyers, it starts with understanding your ideal dream home, location, attributes, how much you can afford. We meet, we talk about what you're looking for, the areas that you want, what you need. We set up custom searches, and then help you find the right home. Once we find the home that just really excites you, then we look at making an offer and evaluate the offers that are out there in the market, the current market, and decide what kind of offer to make, how aggressive to be. And, and so you walk them through the whole process, tell them how it works. We all feel a whole lot more comfortable if we're not made to feel stupid. If we go into the transaction, in this particular case with my son, he was, the agent was my daughter's best friend, and he'd known her for many, many years too. And so he was comfortable asking questions. But if I don't know somebody and I just find you as my agent, and I'm going, I don't want to look like an idiot and ask, do I have to, who pays for the home inspection? Or, what if I don't like the house after I inspect it? But I don't want to ask that, because I don't want to look dumb. But when you explain the process, now they're beginning to understand how you work, and they feel more comfortable asking you those questions that they would hesitate to, and just kind of go, oh, okay, fine. So this to me is an important piece. How do you work? And then, are you ready to talk? You finish it with a call to action. Reach out to me directly here on LinkedIn. Email me at, here's my email address. Visit my website or call me directly at, here's my phone number. Make it easy for them to, if they've got this far, make it easy for them to contact you. Don't make them have to go back to the page and hunt and find and, message you on LinkedIn and maybe you don't see it. Here, call me. And this is an interesting side note here on this particular platform profile. I didn't write this. I got this from a expert that I've followed, and he does a fantastic job in LinkedIn. And so I was reading his book about, how to create this profile, and I ran across this, and I'm going, well, mine aren't that, and mine has this, and mine has that. And so out of the 6 or 7 points that he makes in this summary template, I already had all of those done, all but one. I think I had one thing I didn't do. I didn't have the testimonial in my summary section, but I had everything else. So, I knew this a long time ago, and it just kind of cool going, oh, hey, I should have written this book many, many years ago. But that's your summary template, and I really highly recommend you utilize this because that's a great guideline. You're not going to need all of it. You're not going to may not use every piece of this, but if you utilize the biggest majority of this and try to fit it into the framework, you're going to find that you're going to have a profile that's going to be far outshine anybody else that your competition wise. The last thing we want to talk about is LinkedIn company pages. Many folks don't even realize they can create a company page in LinkedIn just like you can in Facebook. Company pages are more highly searchable than Facebook pages, number one. It gives you the opportunity to showcase your business even more. You don't have to have, 10,000 employees, 500 employees, 50 employees. You can create a company page just for you. And by doing so, now you can post events. You can do live in your company page. You have a little more company description, 250 to 2,000 characters fits into your company description. Same logo size, 300 pixels wide square is the kind of the logo dimensions for your LinkedIn company page. Cover photo, you do have a cover photo in here that you can create. So that's, and here's the dimensions for that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Canva has a LinkedIn profile, but I'd have to double check. I don't remember exactly. So but I know that they probably do have one in there. Now, so if anybody have any questions, you can ask me those questions anytime, now. But I thought I'd pull over my LinkedIn profile. Here's my LinkedIn profile. Again, there's the key phrase. Here's the stuff that I do. I also have videos attached to the top of my profile, and I didn't mention those, but that's another thing you can do is you can create you can put video in your profiles, and you can also pin different in all of your profiles. You can pin a post to the top of the page that's there all the time rather than one that gets pushed down. So you'll see I've got events on LinkedIn. And then for me, if I go up here to my pages, here is my my company page. So I've got a nice header. Here's my tagline. Here's the post that I just made yesterday, as a matter of fact, for my webinar tomorrow. So all of those are, things you can do. You can message people there. And then you also have you have a services page here as well. So you can talk about your content and, let people know what you do. So that gives you a little bit of idea of some of the things that you can do with that. So anybody have any questions? I do want to let you know about my 90-day novice to ninja 90-day marketing plan. I have a webinar tomorrow at 11 that was going to talk about some 5 different, or actually I think there's 7 different things that are essential to your business marketing. But this is going to be a weekly webinar series that with a different topic, much like I'm doing here, on-demand content. But the difference is we're going to take this, and as I go over a particular topic, I'm going to also really hold you accountable for implementing that content. So if you're interested, you can jump over to my 90-day novice to ninja.com, and you'll see the information there on the registration link. If you want to join the webinar tomorrow, just shoot me an email and I'll send you the registration link to that. And that one's free. This will be a paid course. So as always, if you've got any questions, you can reach out to me. Here's my contact information. Feel free to contact me any way you need to. If you have any questions, or as you're down to the end or trying to implement something you're not sure, just let me know. So once again, thanks, Brenda. I think Samantha's on here as well from Pioneer. So thank you guys for being a big supporters for me, for Pioneer Title, and for sponsoring these webinars. They do a fantastic job of supporting their agents. So I really appreciate them and the things that they do and the professionalism they bring to this as well. If you don't have any more questions, next week, my topic, let me verify. Next week, my topic is Facebook Messenger and utilizing their chat program on websites and other spots. So tune in for that next week, and we will see you guys then.